The following program is presented by the Metropolitan Library Service Agency.
Hello, welcome to All About Kids, a program focusing on the interests of children and young people and some of the issues affecting them. Today we'll be talking about raising children in multicultural families. Barbara Jones, director of the Hiawatha YMCA Home Team program, will be discussing this project with Marcia Smith, Beverly A.T. Mackey, and Jennifer Stoopes-Mokamba. Later on in the program, we'll hear from some of the children who are involved in the Y's Home Team program.
Welcome to All About Kids. We're very happy to be here talking about the multiracial family program through the YMCA. With me is Marcia Smith, who is a program participant, Beverly Mackey, and Jennifer Stoopes-Mokamba. As you know, my name is Barbara Jones, and I began in the program as a participant in the support group. I have an 8-year-old daughter who is multiracial. And so I did my internship through Metropolitan State University and was then eventually hired full-time in the program. I'm going to let Jennifer, Beverly, and Marcia tell you a little bit about themselves, and then we'll talk about the program. Jennifer?
Well, I facilitate a parents group for multiracial and multicultural families that deals with both adoptive issues and birth parent issues. I myself am in an interracial marriage and have also belonged to the Multicultural Task Force at the YMCA.
Beverly?
As you know, I'm Beverly Mackey. I'm a social worker normally at Lutheran Social Service. What I do for the YMCA is a number of things. I have facilitated several children's groups, and I've also done a lot of workshops for the children concerning multiracial issues. The reason why I got into it is because I have a multiracial stepson and several nieces and nephews, and I was finding it's a real good issue to get into. There's a lot of problems and a lot of good things that come up from being a multiracial person, so I really got interested in it.
Marcia?
I started out at the YMCA as a participant in a support group 5 years ago. I have since joined the Home Team Advisory Committee, and I'm also on the Multiracial Task Force that works closely with Barbara. I have a 10-year-old daughter who is also biracial, and we do a lot of programming. I've also facilitated the children's group and also have co-facilitated the adult group of the moms groups. And I guess that's about it.
I wanted to share a little bit of who these people were who were sitting here with me today. Home Team is a program of the Metropolitan Minneapolis YMCA, and it began in 1984 at 2 of the YMCA branches. It was a program developed to address the challenges faced by single-parent families and low-income families. The purpose of the Home Team is to foster a mutual self-help network of families who can solve their own problems within their communities and within their families. Home Team is currently offered at 4 different branches covering South Minneapolis, near Northeast, the northeastern suburbs into Anoka, the northwest suburbs, and suburbs of Minneapolis, excuse me. We're serving approximately 1,000 families per year. The Multiracial Family Program began in 1985 in the South Minneapolis branches. It was in response to a lot of the participants of Home Team who were single-parent white mothers who were raising biracial children and adoptive families also. And they really expressed their concerns and issues, and they wanted to develop a specific programming to address that and be able to feel comfortable in talking about those issues. So the result of that was we did create specialized support groups and workshops and social activities for them. The components of the Home Team program and the Multiracial Family program are, like I said, family time events usually held monthly or quarterly for families to share quality time. We usually try to provide them at low cost with transportation available. We do things such as a single-parent family camp where we go out to one of the Y camps and spend the weekend. We have a single-parent retreat for just the parents themselves. We have holiday celebrations and pool parties and a host of variety of other activities that we plan. We also do educational workshops on such issues of parenting, self-esteem, safety issues, racism issues, a whole host of topics that are geared towards helping families educate themselves on family issues. We also have a wide range of ongoing support groups for parents and children, single parent, multiracial family, early childhood parenting skills, and those types of topics. We also have adolescent programming for multiracial youth and for overall teens. And we are just beginning a lot of that programming, and we're trying to do a lot of interactive work with parents and teens and talking about the issues of the teenage years. We have family counselor on board, and so we offer family counseling for couples, individuals, and families. We also provide therapy groups on such issues as family violence. We have supportive counseling where we are able to help folks go in an informal basis that are kind of hesitant to go into a formal counseling setting. We also give a lot of referrals beyond what the Y has to offer them. We have a participant advisory committees. They are the key volunteer leadership group that sets direction of the program. They're all volunteer, they're program participants, and they help staff plan and implement a lot of the activities. We have 2 quarterly newsletters that give information on the events that are going to be occurring in that quarter, and also issues on family life. Montage is the Multicultural Task Force newsletter that talks about issues specific to multiracial families. We provide childcare for all of our events, transportation, and we also provide financial assistance for any of the activities. In 1991, we served 257 multiracial families, and currently we have multiracial family programming at 5 of the branches. We have a wide range of participants, and multiracial families are either adoptive families who have adopted kids of color, whether here in the United States or overseas. We have foster families. We have interracial couples who are raising their own children. We have a lot of single-parent white moms who are raising multiracial children. Those are just a broad base of families that have participated in the program activities. The program we try to do a lot of work in collaboration with a lot of other agencies. We do a lot of work with Early Childhood Family Education, Hennepin County Homeschool, Wilder Foundation, Pillsbury United, Interrace, the Interracial Family Workshops at Oakland Methodist are just a few of the agencies that we work with or we take referrals from. The multiracial program and Home Team has been funded for the last 8 years in large part by the United Way. We also have received a large funding from Grand Metropolitan, Gamble Skogmo, Cargill, and the McKnight Foundation. Because we do scholarship and help a lot of low-income families, we really rely heavily on foundation money so that we are able to help a lot of folks. In 1989, we were able to receive funding by United Way's Success by Six program to develop a parenting and multiracial family video. And this video was really geared for families who were raising multiracial children or children of color under the age of 6 years. And then we look at this video as talking about the first steps for families or agencies or people who are working with families in the issues that concern multiracial families, especially their children. I'd like to turn now from talking about the program and just the components of the program and bringing into the conversation Jennifer, Marcia, and Beverly in talking about what are some of the issues that children and adults in multiracial families face. And I'm going to look to you, Jennifer, first in terms of talking about parents and adults, and just if you would talk a little bit about the issues and concerns that they bring to group or that you as a parent have raised.
Well, I think there's a twofold thing that happens. One, a lot of parents come to group for the support, the information that they get just from other parents. Secondly, I think, well, actually maybe three. Secondly, their children interact with children of color from a variety of very diverse backgrounds, and that in itself is really valuable, particularly for people who may be in situations where their children don't always get that kind of experience. And then on the third hand, what we do try to do is get feedback from them as to what they actually want to see presented. Institutional racism, how to deal with school systems, how to deal with relatives who might say inappropriate things, and just general ways. And we do that in a variety of ways. We can either present material, which we often do, or we try to do some interaction, whether it be role-playing, whether it be feedback in terms of what works for some people and what might work for others, and
have guest speakers.
Right, guest speakers we've had a number of. So, you know, for when I do a group, and I have a co-facilitator as well, we try to come up with creative ways to help people parent, at the same time giving them their support, and more importantly, the support they gain from other parents, because that, I think, kind of becomes the key element. So that's generally speaking how a group. Now, myself being a parent with a biracial child, a multicultural child, and actually both of them are, a lot of issues come up that you aren't always prepared for. So that in itself provides an opportunity for myself to get feedback from other parents as to how they may have dealt with a situation that I hadn't encountered before. So it really is kind of it works both ways, two-way street.
Are there some really specific issues or things, reoccurring kind of issues that parents are struggling with?
I think one of the biggest ones that I have seen, and since our fall group just started, came up again, and that has to do with dialogue. The fact that so much of our society says, if you don't make a big issue about it, it's not going to be one, whereas it's been very clear that that approach doesn't work, and that it's more important to talk about issues and to talk to your children about things and to be upfront with your kids about things. And that again has come up, and it came up last year, and it comes up with every group I do, just reinforcing that it's okay to talk. I mean, it's real important that you talk to your children. You don't have to sweep things under the rug. If they have questions, if they say things, respond to them.
And also too, I think if you don't have the answer, you can always go to the group and get suggestions. We do a lot of networking, a lot of sharing of ideas, and assortment of things.
Yeah, and that's been really helpful for parents. And so that's one of the reoccurring things. The other thing that I think comes up quite a bit is that the notion of institutional racism, how to deal with schools, and if your children are, if you feel your child is being treated differently, and so on and so forth. So those are probably two of the things that come up most frequently.
I think too, what I've always found, and even my own experience, was that my family and close friends did not approve, and therefore I was kind of ostracized or lost that support.
That's a real common thing that we've found in our support groups.
Beverly, Can you talk a little bit about some of the issues that the kids raise, and in working with them, and some of the ways in which you draw that out? Or
Okay. I've been fortunate that I've been able to work with the children in two different ways. One, when I was facilitating the kids group while the moms were in a support group, and then when I've done about 5 or 6 workshops specially set up for the children while the moms were in another group. Some of the issues that come up with is, for one thing, what is it to be multiracial or biracial, interracial? A lot of times that's a title that's put upon them that they don't think about. Another thing we have talked about is, are they black or are they white? Some of them prefer to be considered Afro-American, some prefer to be considered brown, which is a combination of the black and the white. Some of the things that I really try to talk to them about is feeling good about yourself. There's a difference between being who you are and what you are. Who you are is what you are inside, and what you are is what people are going to see. A lot of times people come up to them and say, well, are you black or white or what? I want them to be able to feel good about who they are inside. So it's not so important about what they are. Like Jennifer says, you can't sweep it under the rug. When people look at them, they're going to know that they're a child of color, just like a child that's Afro-American, full Afro-American. They're a child of color. I think they have a lot of the same issues, but I think it's more important to feel good about themselves, and also to feel good about, where they come from. Some of the things I try to do is to celebrate both cultures. If they come from a black and white environment, I want to talk about what it's like to be a European American, what it's like to be an Afro-American. I think what happens so many times is there is so much focus on their Afro-American side. Sometimes people don't talk about the European American side, which is important too, even though people are going to see the Afro-American side first. I want to try to feel comfortable about both sides. Some of the issues they come up with is dealing with the father in the family, whether or not the father is an important part of the family, and what happens when they go to visit their mother's side of the family, or when they go to visit the father's side of the family. So we try to cover a lot of the different issues. I try to talk about the strong Afro-American figures in society, not just the ones that they all know about, like Martin Luther King or Jesse Jackson, some of the ones they don't know about. I also try to do things with the females that they don't know about too. And especially since a lot of my groups have been females, that gives them a strong sense of identity too, because I want to talk about the female side too.
Sure. I think too, there's also, we're seeing more and more multiracial or biracial adults who are in the limelight or celebrities now, and that is very helpful to bring out. How do you deal with the issues of racism in terms of confrontations with kids? Can you talk a little bit about how you would help them through dealing with that?
Again, I try to focus on feeling good about themselves. It's going to come up at some point in their life. It might not come up when they're 10, might not come up when they're 12, but at some point, someone's going to say something negative to them about their color of their skin. They can handle it a number of different ways. They can walk away, they can be assertive about it, they can be aggressive about it, but every way they handle it is going to be some kind of reaction. One thing I try to get them to do is talk to their parents, or find someone who they feel comfortable talking to about that. I think it's just tough. You never know when it's going to come up. And I think, like myself being an Afro-American mother, the first time my daughter comes home and someone has said something negative to her, it's going to hurt. But I have to get beyond my own hurt and help her deal with her hurt. There's some other things that come up. One of the times it came up in a group, there was something about the KKK, and the group was real interested in knowing what was the KKK and if they were going to attack them at their home, since we got into a whole big discussion about the history of it, if it takes place here in Minneapolis. Also, I told them to go back and talk to your parents about it too, because I wanted them to feel safe. See, it's a real tricky issue. You want them to know about racism and prejudice, but you don't want to scare them at the same time. So you kind of have to handle it honestly and openly, and as each incident comes up.
And create an atmosphere at home that the children and parents feel real comfortable talking about racial differences and issues, and so that there can be a safe, supportive environment.
And another thing, since a lot of them do have white parents, sometimes the parents aren't quite sure of where they are in terms of their own racist issues. And I think it's really important that they have the support groups for the moms, so the moms can help deal with that too, because if the moms or the dads, if they can't deal with it, then they're going to have a hard time dealing with the children.
Well, that's what's so great about having Beverly facilitate groups too, because a lot of times the parents will come to you for advice, and we really appreciate that.
And you know, life hasn't been easy for being an all African-American person either. I don't know all the issues, I don't know all the answers, but it's like constant practice, practice, practice.
And being able just to have the dialogue.
Right.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, the communication.
And also having a good sense of humor. I have found that I can't fight every issue. I have to decide what issues are most important, which ones I'm really going to take a hard stand on, and which ones I can ignore. And that's what I try to help with the kids too, so they can decide what's going to be more important to them.
This is my daughter Grace, who goes to Ramsey School, and she's in 3rd grade.
Marcia, can you tell us who you have with you today?
This is my 10-year-old daughter Talia, who goes to Jefferson Elementary School.
Do you want to say something, Talia?
Look to the camera.
And Jennifer, who do you have with you today?
This is my oldest daughter, Tessa, who's 12 and goes to Dowling Urban Environmental. And my younger child, Ella. Hey, Ella, she's not in school yet, not until next year.
Okay. Marcia, can you tell me something you found to be real beneficial with this program?
I would say, I think for Talia, her being with other multicultural kids has been very beneficial to her. We've become very good friends with many of the participants that I joined with 5 years ago. And it's real comforting for Talia and for myself to be with a group of my friends who all have biracial kids. It's great.
Talia, what has been your most favorite activity?
The movie about the colored people.
What movie was that, Talia? You want to tell us more about that?
It's about colored people.
Color of People?
That was about that girl. She could get invisible and the colors weren't friends.
Oh, the one that was a musical that we showed? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a good one. Jennifer,
Yes.
how have you found the program to be helpful to you?
Well, for my own family, I think it's been really great for both of my kids to meet people from very diverse backgrounds. And Ella being able to be around a lot of her friends of the same age, because there are a number of them the same age, with parents and so on from, her father's from Kenya, so she deals with a lot of cultural things as well. And my older daughter here, her dad's Australian, so she deals with a lot of multicultural things and places and people and so on. So I think there's been a lot of rewards in that way.
Tessa, what have you enjoyed the most?
I enjoyed the camping during the winter for the weekend. I thought that was really fun.
Okay.
Which was all multicultural families. It was our first annual.
What have you liked, Ella? Can you think of something you've liked?
Have you made some friends there?
Can you think of anything you've enjoyed the most, Grace?
No?
She's been enjoying having groups though, so
Yes, okay.
I've enjoyed her. What I've enjoyed most about the program is getting to know other people, getting to know the children, getting to know the parents. And one of the other things that I have done is I've done workshops for the moms of how to increase self-esteem for their children. And that has been an uplift for me while I'm trying to help them increase their self-esteem in their children. It's increased my self-esteem. It's given me new things I could try with my own child. So what I found about this program is a two-way street. You learn and you teach at the same time. And I really like that.
I think too, one of the things is that the kids get together and they don't have to explain who they are. Because a lot of times out in the community, they're constantly asked, is that your mom? Are you adopted? Who are you? And when they get together with other multiracial children, they don't have to answer those questions because everybody is very comfortable with that. I think too that we have seen, because the program is participant driven and the key leadership of the program is the volunteers, that it's a very empowering program in terms of helping folks be able to learn about racism, to get involved in other communities of color in the Twin Cities area. I think that that is one of the reason why Home Team and the Multiracial Family Program works, is because it's just not services. It's a collection of services, but it's a community where people are embraced when they're having a tough time and where they're having a good time. It's a place where we can come together as multiracial families and discuss issues openly and honestly and be able to work out our responses and help us practice that, to take it out into the community. It also helps us to take on that leadership within our community and work in systems such as the schools, in our churches, in our political arenas, wherever else that people don't understand the issues surrounding our families. Anything else you guys want to add?
Just one thing I want to say about what Talia was talking about, the movie that we'd shown. It was called We Sing in Sillyville, and it was a bunch of different people who wore different colors, who didn't like one another. And what I liked about it was able to talk about the idea of racism and prejudice in kind of a fun way. It didn't mention black or white people. It was people who wore red and purples and green, and at the end, everyone got together. Now that was a little idealistic, that everything's going to end up so nicely like that at the end, but I think it's a start. And I think our start is to start with the children, because we have to start somewhere.
That's right.
I think there's the whole issue of embracing culture. I mean, really a sense of recognizing that sometimes differences can be wonderful, and that in actuality there are more similarities than there are differences. And really celebrating that. And I feel that in my own family, as well as groups that I do, and as well as being at the Y and with the multicultural group. So, you know, just celebrating and knowing it's okay to talk about those things, and it's okay to be excited about things from various cultures in different places.
Marcia?
I think the biggest thing for me is I've been educated every day since I've had Talia, and being involved at the Y has really helped me open my eyes to so many things. And I guess the biggest thing that I would say to people out there is education is so important. We all need to be educated every day and listen and learn. And listen to our kids.
Yeah.
It's really important.
The voice of tomorrow.
And don't think any question is too stupid to ask.
Thank you all for coming.
It's been fun.
Really appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara Jones, and the participants of the Hiawatha YMCA's Home Team program who visited with us today. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Please tune in again.
This has been a presentation of Hennepin County Library in conjunction with the Twin Cities Metropolitan Library Service Agency. We thank you for watching, and we hope you visit your public library often.